And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Integrity Racing League 2021 season, round 4, here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Hello, everybody. I'm Jonathan Oates, and it's just me in the broadcast booth for tonight. But still, we are getting set for an action-packed night of racing here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. After having watched possibly 3 real-life NASCAR races at this track, I'm sure you're sick and tired of all the gambling references. So we're going to try and keep the broadcast clean of that tonight, but what we are going to see is a lot of good racing. I raced this combination in the iRacing B-Fix series quite a bit last week, and at least from my experience, we are going to have a very good show tonight. Currently in the driver's meeting for this race, but we just wrapped up qualifying, and we can go ahead and read through those results now. I will try and pull them up on screen, or at least try and find them somewhere. It can be a little bit difficult now that we are in a different session. But we will at least get to the starting lineup once everybody starts gridding up. Just about 3 minutes remaining here in this warm-up or driver's meeting. But like I said, I'm very excited for this race here tonight at Las Vegas. We're 4 races into the Integrity Racing League 2021 season, so I think it's time that we start looking at the points. At the moment, it is Brad Patton at the top of the points standings with 117 points. Cody Smith and Jacob Fife bringing it in second and third with 108 and 106 points respectively. We've seen some very strong runs out of them tonight, but at the moment your only race winner inside the top 5 is Ethan Lane in fourth with 105 points, over 10 points back of your points leader Brad Patton. Nick Terrebuk coming home in 5th after 3 races this season. Still a little bit early on to tell who is going to be a contender for the championship as we get into the playoffs later in the season. But at this point, I think we're going to start to see who's going to be fast throughout the season, who's not going to be fast. I mean, Las Vegas, it's a very typical mile and a half. There isn't really anything that differentiates it from a lot of the other tracks, obviously, other from the bumps that are in 1 and 2, and we'll get to that in a moment. But I think that whatever we see tonight, it's going to be a big indicator of kind of the racing we're going to see throughout the season and who's going to be strong, who's not going to be so strong. But after 5 races in, that is how the points shake up. We also do have a sponsor on hand for this race tonight. Tonight's race is officially the Fine Line Racing presents Rowell the Dice 2 Electric Boogaloo from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So you can thank Fine Line Racing for the sponsorship, and we of course have to give a shout out to the league sponsor Pro Powder and Paint. Pro Powder and Paint is the proud series sponsor of the Integrity Racing League. Established in 2009, Pro Powder and Paint can take care of any and every painting and powder coating need. From restoring cars to powder coating fixtures and frames large and small, Pro Powder and Paint has dedicated professionals on hand to take care of all your needs. Feel free to call 804-368-8453 or go to www.propowderpaint.com and get a quote today. Now that we've got all these sponsors out of the way, we can get to what I've really wanted to talk about throughout this pre-race show, which is the bumps down in turns 1 and 2. In an era on iRacing where multi-groove racing hasn't been working in its entirety since around late 2019, Las Vegas has been able to consistently provide multiple grooves of racing down in turns 1 and 2. You're going to see, if we go on board with anyone through those 2 corners, that right as you get down to that white line, those first couple of grooves off the bottom, they are incredibly bumpy. You're going to see guys moving around, trying to find grip. You might even see people going up to the 3rd or 4th lane trying to get a run off too, or you might see people going even lower, taking a risk over the bumps, maybe taking a bit more of a gamble with their tires to try and make up time by taking that shorter distance. I think that turns 1 and 2 in particular are going to be a huge talking point throughout the night for us. Turns 3 and 4, a lot more stereotypical of what you'd see at a lot of mile and a half. So you kind of got to hug that bottom line. But because of how tight and loose kind of at the same time that this setup is, being on the outside line might actually be an advantage. You get a lot more speed around the high side. You can really squeeze the guy on the inside down to that white line. So I think that we're going to see a lot of different ways to pass here at Las Vegas, especially in 1 and 2. The field gridding up now. It's the 48 of Alec Daffin on pole. 134 laps, 200 miles ahead of these competitors tonight. I'm sure that you all at home are just as excited as I am as the field grids up. It'll be Brad Patton trying to defend his points lead. It'll be Alec Daffin on pole trying to get his first win of the season. A couple of other storylines as we come into tonight. I believe the 34 car, Justin Trombley, who absolutely dominated last week at Homestead, is once again in the field. You're going to have to watch for him throughout the night. That one car, Brad Patton, incredibly aggressive on the short runs. We're going to have to watch for him a ton throughout the night. Jody Banfield had quite a bit of bad luck last week at Las Vegas, put down a strong qualifying effort, last week at Homestead, put down a strong qualifying effort tonight, starting inside the top 10. I think Banfield looking for a little bit of redemption. A lot of new faces towards the front of the field, so we'll see who is able to get it done tonight. The field just gridding up at the moment. Lights are up at the top of your screen, which means we are going to get this pace lap underway. Cody Smith struggling a little bit in qualifying. I've raced against him this week, and the pace that I saw out of him, not entirely up to what we saw out of him at Daytona. So Cody Smith, one of the stronger drivers throughout the opening parts of the season, might struggle a little bit tonight at Las Vegas. Tire saving going to be key as well, making sure to keep that wheel smooth, making sure to drag the brakes on entry, not being too aggressive on the throttle. It's all going to be crucial to getting a good race done here at Las Vegas. Field rolling through turns 1 and 2 now. Your pole sitter, Alec Daffin, looking to lead him to green. 200 laps ahead of these drivers. Your stage ends coming in, I believe, lap 65, although I'll just have to get confirmation really quick by checking the schedule, but there are going to be 2 stages tonight. No cautions, only bonus points awarded to the drivers who are leading at the end of those stages. Down the back straightaway, under pacing, just about ready to get this race started. I hope you all at home are excited. Las Vegas is one of my favorite intermediates. It looks stereotypical. It looks like a typical cookie cutter racetrack, but when you really get down to it, this track is just so unique compared to a lot of the other races on the schedule. Stage 1 ending at lap 33, Stage 2, lap 67. It's time to roll the dice here at Las Vegas. Pace car going to make that left turn onto the pit lane, and Alec Daffin going to lead him to green. Pace car is off, and here we go. Daffin going to lead him down. The green flag is out. We are racing in Las Vegas. And a late start by Daffin, going to stack up the 84 on the outside. They're dashing down towards turn number 1 now. Daffin taking the lead early on and clearing as they go towards turn number 1. Through 1 and 2 and coming down the back straightaway for the first time tonight, it's going to be Alec Daffin with the lead early on, side by side for second. Ethan Lane looking down the inside of Brad Mahar. Down to turn 3, Lane going to have the inside. Mahar going to fight back all the way up against the outside wall. Mahar going to dive it down, gets a little loose off turn 4. Lap 1, clean and green with Alec Daffin leading away. Back towards turn number 1. First side-by-side is the battle for 5th. Back down to single file. Eric Crow going to get the spot going to turn number 1. Nick Tarabuck side-by-side with Banfield. Banfield going to fight back up top. Going to get the run off turn 2. Going to clear Tarabuck. Down the back straightaway, Jody Banfield clear into 7th, looking for redemption from last week at Homestead. Filing down towards turn 3 now. Side-by-side, Patton and Crow. Crow on the high side. Patton fighting down low. Going to get that spot over Crow. Coming to lap 3 of 134. Move Patton up into 5th. Daffin still in the lead. Back towards turn number 1. And you can see already drivers searching around for grip in turns 1 and 2. Daffin in the middle. Lane down low. We'll go on board with him next time by. Justin Trombley, last week's winner, one of the strongest cars on the long run. Right now quietly working his way up into P4. Side by side, Eric Crow and Jody Banfield for 6th. Crow fighting back on that high side. It's something you can do quite a bit here at Las Vegas. To the line, give the spot to Crow at the moment. Side by side to turn number 1, on board with Jody Banfield. Look at the bumps down in 1 and 2. He really has to get out of the throttle, try not to slide up into Eric Crow. Down the back straightaway, it's going to be Crow with the run, headed for 3, coming to lap 5 of 134 next time by. That middle lane looking strong, trying to defend the position. You can see a bit of a gaggle of cars towards the midfield, just around Brent McCoy. We'll leave Jay Heischman, one of the cars fighting around the outside. Heischman right now on the inside of Dowell. Back towards turn number 1. That battle is going to file out back down to single file, I think, at the moment. Everyone just trying to get into a rhythm is up at the top. I believe that is the 53, James Hudson, trying to make that high line work. Not going to be able to do it, though. Going to be side by side with Heischman going into turn number 3. Heischman looking down the inside. Just going to get a little bit tight, though, on the bottom. Hudson able to fight back on the high side. This battle for 13th. Back to the line on lap 7 of 134. Give that spot to Hudson. Update on the front of the field, you see Daffin running the middle, Lane running down low, Harvicking that white line, side by side for 5th. Eric Crow looking down the inside, Patton fighting back up top. Crow gonna fall back. On the outside is Nick Tarabuck trying to get the spot. Towards turn 3 now, Tarabuck gonna fall back, Crow cleared for the position. Tarabuck to 7th, Cody Smith now side by side with Banfield fighting on the outside. A little bit loose off turn 4, Wetmore looking to take advantage of all of it, maybe looking to go 3 wide through the middle. That gap going to close right in Wetmore's face. Maybe a little bit of contact there between him and the 18. Once again, that middle line, though, through 1 and 2, just prevailing as Wetmore gets the run on the outside. Field of 35 cars back down towards turn number 3. The battling in the midfield is strong as ever. Justin Trombley right now side by side with Patton headed for 3 and 4. Crow getting on the apron just a little bit. Going to drift up the track. That might open the door for Tarabuck down the inside. Coming to lap 8. Back towards turn number 1 now. Here comes Trombley down the inside. Going to send it right towards that white line. Patton right around the outside. Going to keep the spot and more. Now side by side behind Eric Crow. Around the outside of Trombley. Is Tarabuck going to take advantage and go 3 wide down the inside? No, they're all going to file back in line. Banfield maybe thought about a move behind. Decided better of it. 3 cars battling for 9th behind. Wetmore on the outside. Going to get a run on Banfield. Big run coming to the front straightaway. Wetmore electing to take the outside line, headed back towards turn number 1. It's a bold move. We'll see if it works out for him. Going to turn number 1. Is he going to take that high line? Yes, he is committed up top. Trying to get to the outside of Banfield, headed for turn 3. Side by side for the lead. Alec Daffin and Ethan Lane. Lane looking down the inside. Got to make sure he doesn't burn up his tires too much, though. We are side by side battling for the race lead here on lap 9. Daffin holding strong on the high side, but this battling going to kill their right front tires. Lane all the way on the apron, trying to get everything he can in the middle of that trioval. Back to turn number 1. Lane on the inside, sliding up the racetrack, just gets a little bit tight, going to push Daffin out wide. New leader, Ethan Lane. Here comes Brad Mayhar trying to take advantage. He's going to slip back in line. Will Daffin fight back on Lane? No, he won't. Single file to turn 3. Battle behind. I saw Chris Ryan on the outside, or sorry, on the inside. That number 80 car, she's going to go down the inside of Guillermo Alvarez. Alvarez fighting back up top. 4 cars under a blanket right now, battling for 5th. McCoy nearly makes contact with Williams on the outside. Might go 3 wide and a 1 here. Ryan, she's looking to take advantage on the bottom. Back to turn 1. Williams up high. Alvarez through the middle. Ryan's going to slide up. Alvarez down the inside of the 86 car. Williams looking to cross over McCoy. Nearly 3 wide, going into 3, coming to lap 12 of 134. McCoy leading that group. Up top, that's the 88 car, Michael Dewell, trying to make that high line work out for him. Coming up on lap 12 of 134, Ethan Lane over Mayhar at the front, Daffin falling back. Here comes Mayhar looking to make a charge for the lead. Trying to Harvick that white line all the way down to the bottom. Just back up that entry, paint that white line through the center. Not going to make it work, though. Your top 5 at the moment. Lane, Mayhar, Daffin, Patton, and Crow. See what I mean? Everyone just kind of taking that bottom line through 3 and 4. Not a lot of room to move around, but 1 and 2, there is absolutely a lot of room to move around. Back to that battle around 15. That's Schetzler right now leading over McCoy. McCoy in the 29 car trying to get 15th side by side behind. William Dunn on the inside of Williams. Dunn having a little bit of trouble getting going here early on in the season in that 43 Coca-Cola Energy Chevrolet. He's ran into some bad luck, some poor performances, but right now he's battling inside the top 20, looking to put together a solid run for that 43 car. Behind, Jacob Fife and Kimball battling it out for that 21st spot. Now Williams up the track along with Dunn. Dunn going to keep the position. Williams with the run down the front straightaway to turn 1. You can see they're really backing out of the throttle early now. Here comes Williams to the high side. Fly by the field as they go through turns number 1 and 2. Williams going to try and get the run down the back straightaway. Battle in front, that's Brent McCoy. McCoy right now on the inside of Schetzler. Towards turn 3, it's McCoy, Schetzler, side by side. Ryan looking to go down the inside of Alvarez. Alvarez taking advantage of the 24, getting pushed out wide. They're going to go 3 wide on the front straightaway. McCoy slams the door. There's contact behind. Alvarez and Schetzler get into it down the front straightaway now. Alvarez looking for more down the inside. Nearly clipping McCoy. Alvarez going to get tight now. Here comes Ryan down the inside of Schetzler. Ryan gets tight off too, down the back straightaway. Headed for turn number 3, the 88 of Michael Dowell leading over Heischman. McCoy caught up to both of them as they go towards turn 3. Ryan on that white line, clear of Schetzler. 6 cars under a blanket down the front straightaway. Here comes McCoy. McCoy to the bumper of Schetzler. Alvarez with the run, back to turn 1. McCoy slams the door on Heischman. Here comes Alvarez down the inside. McCoy back to the middle, trying to get the spot on Dowell. Here comes Ryan down the inside of Heischman. Down the back straightaway, headed for turn number 3. Ryan not able to get down the inside of Heischman. She's going to make another dive of it down the inside. Heischman holding on to the outside. Heischman going to pull off turn 4. Ryan just getting a little tight, though, on the inside. They're going to be side by side, coming to the front straightaway, this time by. Up at the front, Brad Mayhar still trying to make that charge on Ethan Lane. Lane going lower, Mayhar to the middle. Mayhar going to try and get that run down the back straightaway. The main battle on track, though, around that 15th spot. Dowell trying to get to the outside of Alvarez. Alvarez making his charge through the field. Dowell looking to go down the inside. Alvarez blocks up top towards turn 3. Alvarez holding on to the spot. Look behind. Chris Ryan right now leading the battle between William Dunn and Schetzler. Schetzler falling back. Dunn coming through the field. Chris Ryan, she's now on the bumper of Jay Heischman. Ryan to the outside. Going to try and make the pass on the outside through 1 and 2. Heischman holding on through 1. Ryan trying to cross him over. Side by side off 2 and down the back. Ryan down the inside. Heischman caught up on the high side, headed towards turn 3. Heischman might try and defend this. Right around that 3rd lane. Take a look up in front of 53 of James Hudson. Still trying to make that high line work out for him. Guillermo Alvarez charging through the field down the inside. We saw him be really aggressive in the late stages at Homestead. He is once again making a charge towards the front of the field, diving down the inside and clears the 53 through 1 and 2. And Hudson getting really loose through 1 and 2. Now Dowell fighting on the outside of Ryan. Big run for Dowell, side by side behind Heischman and Dunn. Dowell now down the inside of Hudson as Heischman on the outside of Dunn. Dunn on the inside, up to 17th, trying to clear him through 3 and 4. Heischman goes wide, 3-car battle in front. Hudson hung out up high. Ryan going to take advantage. Freight trains Hudson down the inside, back towards turn 1. Hudson trying to make that high line work all the way up by the wall in 1 and 2. Going to get the run off 2. Ryan slams the door. Hudson looking back down the inside. They're all in a line, going to 3. Here comes Dunn down the inside of Hudson. And William Dunn really saved his tires, looking to put together a strong run here at Las Vegas. They're going to come close together off 2. That high line can get really loose sometimes. Side by side down the front straightaway, Dunn and Dunn and Hudson, sorry. Heischman, the one going down the inside of Hudson, who is still trying to rip the fence. Now Ryan all the way on that white line, trying to take the spot from Dowell. That battle for 14th. Back towards 1 and 2. Mayhar and Lane still the ones battling up front. Trombley back to 6th, not making his usual charge towards the front. Now Heischman and Hudson side by side through 3 and 4. Heischman slides up. Schetzler and Kimball battling behind. Here comes Jacob Fife looking around the outside. Kimball getting loose on the apron, sliding down to the inside. Going to open up the door for Fife to go around the outside of 1, maybe 2 cars on board with Fife. 24 cars strung out on the inside. Down the back straightaway, headed for turn number 3. Fife on the outside of Kimball. Kimball on the inside of Fife, side by side. That battle for 20th. Kimball prevailing, coming to lap 24. Sean Kimball going to hold the spot over Jacob Fife. Schetzler still P19. Update on Chris Ryan, who is continuing her charge through the field. She's all over the bumper now. Michael Dowell through 1 and 2. On board with the 80 of Chris Ryan. You can hear just how early these cars are lifting off going into the corners. This thing gets really tight on the long run, at least through my experimenting. A 40-lap run can get these tires down to around 40% on the right front. So depending on how long a fuel run is, which is looking to be around 50 laps, 3 wide behind going to turn number 1. That was the 53 car of Hudson getting strung out up top. Now Fife looking to go around the inside of the 81 of Kimball. Kimball gets loose, 3 wide off 2. Winker through the middle. Great job by everybody to keep it organized off turn 2. But Sean Kimball, those tires destroyed on that 53 car. Sorry, that 81 car. Chris Ryan now looking down the inside of Michael Dewell. Not much of a fight put up by Dewell. Maybe he just wants to keep the outside line. Ryan going to send it down the inside and clear towards turn number 1. Up in a P14 goes the 80 of Chris Ryan. Now William Dunn maybe looking to take advantage from behind. On board with William Dunn. You can hear just how gradual they're being on the throttle. You really got to get the thing to rotate through center, and you really got to jump out of it on exit. I mean, at least from my experience, through center, this car gets way tight, and on exit, it gets way loose. So you really got to find a balance with your throttle inputs, trying to get it to turn, but not trying to break it loose. Everyone pretty much running the bottom in this group through 1 and 2, but you're going to see Dunn maybe have to correct it a little bit off 2. He's just being so smooth with those inputs. Back towards turns 3 and 4. Looking at the front of the field, it's still Ethan Lane leading away over Brad Mahar. Alec Daffin back to 3rd. Brad Patton currently in 4th. Trombley to 5th, looking to make his usual late run charge through the field. Eric Crow, Nick Terrebuck side by side. Terrebuck holding on in a 1, getting a little tight off 2 though. Crow might launch a challenge back down the inside, headed for 3. He's going to slip back. Main battle's on track happening around that 15th spot, but it's getting a little bit strung out at the back. So at the moment, there's a great battle going on between Terrebuck and Crow for P6. You can see Terrebuck just going a little wide through 3 and 4. Maybe trying to keep the momentum up. Coming to lap 29 for these guys. Our next time by will be coming to lap 29. Crow looking down the inside. Wetmore up high. Wetmore going to get to the outside of Crow off 2. Power move by Wetmore, but he's going to get the pass done in 3 and 4. It's way harder to go around the outside of 3 and 4 than it is in 1 and 2. In fact, 1 and 2 is pretty easy to do that. Wetmore hanging on the quarter panel of Crow. Crow going to push him up the track. Smith looking to take advantage. Are they going to go 3 wide to turn 1? We got a caution on the track. First caution of the night, coming on lap 29 of 134. Looking around for the cause. And I do believe it was towards the back of the field. And I believe it might have been Cody Smith. At least according to my timing and scoring. I see him up here in the top 10. So I'm not entirely sure what brought out that caution. But the yellow flag comes out on lap 28 of 134. Field going to be in the hands of Ethan Lane, and I believe I might see the cause of the issue. I see it there on the apron. And I believe Nick Williams in the 86. Heavy damage to the front nose of that 86 machine. Caution coming out. These guys have 3 tire sets available to them throughout this 134-lap run. So we'll see if anyone decides to dive into the pit lane this time by. Well, remember to go back and take a look at what happened to Nick Williams. The field accordioning going into the pit lane. Lane gonna bring him in. Anybody gonna fake it? And it looks like the call for the field is to bring it in for what I'm guessing will be tires and fuel, but we'll have to see if anyone elects to take 2 tires or to just take fuel. You might want to save those tire sets for later in the race, depending on if you want to bank on a late race caution like we got at Homestead. And into the pits go your race leaders. Nick Terrebuck missing his box, gonna have to go through the pit lane. I believe 2 cars missed their boxes. But everybody taking 4 tires and fuel now. We'll take a look at what happened to Nick Williams to bring out the first caution of the night. This car might not be rendered in fully at the moment. Looks like by then the accident already happened, but he might have been having a lot of netcode issues. He's blinking out quite a bit on our screen here. Can't really get a grasp of him. But it does look like it was a wreck that brought out that caution. But unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to see what it was. Just based on the fact that he is not rendered in at the moment. Yeah, by the time we're able to load him back up on the sim, his car is already destroyed. So unless we can get a better idea of what happened, I do believe this is... Oh, there it is, down the back straightaway. So luckily, we are going to get a look at what happened to him. And here it is off turn 2. Williams going to smack the wall, sends it down into Froelich, who sends him back to the wall. Might have just gotten loose again. Williams taps the wall, comes down into the 17. They're going to slide towards the inside, and that is what brought out the caution for the first time tonight. So a 2-car incident on the back straightaway, going to bring out our first yellow of the night. Right now, the field in the hands of Ethan Lane, as that 4-car had to go back down the pit lane, along with a few others who either are coming down to top off on fuel or miss their pit box that first time around. But Ethan Lane gonna inherit the lead, swerving around, getting those tires warmed up. But like I said, caution out for the first time tonight, so we're going to set up for a restart with the choose cone, by the way, which I actually realize now I don't have a camera set up for. So we might have to do this a little bit impromptu here. But if I go ahead and load into the sim, we can... Here we go. Only the slightest bit unprofessional. Oh, that's too far. Apologies that I haven't had this done before the race, but there we go. Now we have a choose cone cam set up. So we will be able to see which lane these drivers elect to pick, if it'll be the inside or the outside line. Top 2 go inside, lights around on the pace car. It's the inside line, okay. Nearly had a wreck with Eric Crow, but a vast majority of the field picking inside, which surprises me. You are able to keep that. You are able to keep the momentum going on the high side quite a bit. We're gonna cut away for just a moment, and we'll be right back. And we're back live here on TMG. Just had to get some of the audio stuff sorted for our new camera, which we're also going to be using as a flyby. Ethan Lane, going to be your pole sitter, coming back to green over Brad Mahar and Alec Daffin. Wetmore lining up P4. Taking a look at how they're going to line up for this restart. It'll be Lane and Mahar on the inside. Daffin, Wetmore on the outside. Not sure how important bump drafting is going to be on this restart, or if Lane and Mahar might have something worked out, trying to work together as we come back to green. But we'll see this time by. Control car Ethan Lane going to bring the field back to green. Pace car is in. And here we go. Green flag, green flag, green flag. We're back racing at Las Vegas. The field rounding through turns 1 and 2. Ethan Lane, your race leader over Mahar and Daffin. Down the back straightaway, Lane breaking away. Battle for third, Daffin and Wetmore. Mahar back to second. One car spinning in the back. That might be a caution. Might be able to keep it out of the racing line, though we stay green momentarily. Daffin, Wetmore side by side through 3 and 4. Wetmore going to hold on to the inside. Battle behind for 5th. Patton holding on over Crow. Behind them, a big gaggle of cars heading down towards turn number 1, looking 3 wide. Smith poked his nose up the inside, going to have the run off turn 2. Smith down the inside. Banfield around the outside of Alvarez. Down the back straightaway, they're blocking going into turn number 3. Wetmore looking down the inside of, Daffin looking down the inside of Wetmore. Daffin slides up. Patton going to have a run. Back around 11th, there's a big gaggle of cars fighting for spots. Here comes William Dunn down the inside of Cody Smith, headed for turn 1. Gonna try and wrap it on that white line. Just missed the bottom a little bit. Gonna allow Fife around the outside. Caution is back out. They're wrecking in 1 and 2. I believe it might have been Jim Fife who went around, damage to the front end of that 63 car, but the caution is back out on lap 36. So we're going to get a look at a replay here. And it might have been that 3 wide in front of him. I'm not sure Fife was the cause of the incident. I believe we went back one too many laps, so we'll go and speed it up here. But I do believe it was Jim Fife bringing out the caution, the only car with damage that I saw. But we'll see it here going into turn number 1. A little bit of net code for Fife. Oh, and they were already wrecking in front of him, so that was actually the 52 of Jorge Canales. Slid up into the 79 of Christopher Daniel, or sorry, that's going to be the 78 of Todd Thomas. Sent him wide. You're going to see the 50 of Kevin Matz piling and nowhere to go. We'll back it up. Canales is going to be the cause of the incident here. Speed it up. Going into turn 1 and 2. And I do believe that he might have just gotten tagged here by the 78 of Todd Thomas. Oh, he actually came down the track. Oh, that's interesting. So from there, it actually looks like going into turn 1 and 2, Canales was trying to squeeze Thomas low. Thomas was expecting him to be wider. They came together. Thomas slid up the track. Matz piled in. And the rest of the field had nowhere to go. You see Jim Fife. Christopher Daniel sliding in. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can put that one on Thomas here. We'll take a look at a replay again. Yeah, I think Canales was just a little bit down the racetrack and they came together going into turn 1. And that right there, gonna bring out the caution for the second time tonight. We'll be restarting with, well, we'll try and get a look at it now. I believe we might be restarting on lap 40 if we choose this time by. And if we do choose, we have the camera all set and ready to go. But that right there is going to be our second caution of the night. I believe they'll be choosing this time by. We'll see if Lane elects to go to the inside once again. At the moment, he's hanging low. Lights are out on the pace car. I believe Lane chooses the bottom. Nope, they weren't choosing that time. Alright, we'll be choosing next time by, so we'll restart with around 41 laps to go. Right now, working the second caution of the night. Inching closer to that 1/3 of the way through the race mark. A little bit of a caution fest early on. But we've settled into a pretty long run, but this car does get pretty loose as the run goes on. Not like at Homestead, where if anything, the car just kept getting tighter and tighter. This car, as you get longer into that run, it pretty much exclusively starts driving off that right rear. It's actually one of the reasons it might be a little bit more beneficial to at least run a little bit higher in 1 and 2. You don't really need that right rear tire to try and shove the car onto that white line. You can kind of just let it roll, let it just kind of keep the car straight. You don't need as much slip angle to make the corner. It's more just about abusing that right rear. You don't want to do it. Okay, I believe we're choosing this time by, so you can choose the inside, you can choose the outside, but you cannot choose the cone. That would give you an end-of-line penalty. So, we'll see what the field chooses. Lane going up top this time. Mayhar to the bottom. They'll be lining up 1-2. Bit of an even split through the field. But you see your top 4 gridding up. Brad Patton going to be 3rd on the inside line. Might have to take Mayhar 3 wide going into 1 if Mayhar doesn't get a good start. One of the disadvantages of being on the inside in 2nd place is that because of the way these cars are angled, that seat, that driver's seat is just far closer to the inside than it is to the outside, and that seems like it is pretty common sense, but you just have to consider that it's harder to see a car to your right than it is a car to your left, so it's a lot harder to judge when that car on your outside is going, unless, of course, he has VR, in which case, well, Well, that makes things quite a bit easier now, doesn't it? But here we go, coming to the green flag this time by. At the moment, it has been Ethan Lane putting on a dominant performance here at Las Vegas. Biggest surprise, I'd say, has been Justin Trombley not really making up as many spots as I thought he would on those longer runs. Although, admittedly, we haven't had too many long runs tonight. We only had that one to start the race off. Working lap 40, but we'll go back green this time by. Pace car going to make that left turn off the banking and down into the pit lane. Here we go once again for the Integrity Racing League at Las Vegas. Flagman going to start him back up. We're back green at Las Vegas. Ethan Lane on the outside going to take off. Down towards turn number 1 now. Ethan Lane to the bottom. Mahar clear for second. Off 2. Down the back, it's going to be Ethan Lane leading away over Mahar and Wetmore. 3 wide behind. Couple of cars shuffling around. They're wrecking on the back straightaway. Ryan around into the inside wall. Hard crash for the 80 car. No caution. She's off the track. We stay green. Caution is out. Ryan took a hard hit to the inside wall. And that brought out the caution for the 3rd time tonight. Another short run to kick this thing off. And this time it was Chris Ryan going around on the back straightaway. We'll take a look at a replay. But heavy damage to the front of the 80 car. Well, actually, it's not that heavy damage, but I have a feeling it should be. Because that car took a huge hit to the inside wall. Although for some reason it is not loading in that car. Okay, that actually wasn't as big of a hit as I thought it was. But we'll get a look at a replay here. And you're going to see Ryan. Oh, the field actually stacked up in front of her. So Ryan cut low to try and avoid the field stacking into the wall. She cut down onto Well and slid her into the inside wall. Luckily, that's Supra taking a pretty light impact, keeping the car relatively undamaged. But it all started with, I believe, the 29 car of Brent McCoy. So another replay. And you'll see here, McCoy slams the wall off too, stacks up Smith and the field. They dive low to avoid him, and unfortunately, Chris Ryan gets turned. I've been in positions like that before, though. I mean, you can't really fault anyone. You're all trying to avoid the wreck, but some people just avoid it a little bit more than others. And in the end, you get cars spun around, you get cars in the inside wall. And that is what brings out the 3rd caution of the night. Ethan Lane, though, he's been managing to hold on quite well through these restarts. Working lap 43 of 134 at the moment. You're just about at that 1/3 of the way through mark. We have passed stage 1 with Ethan Lane taking the win. Stage 2 going to end on lap 67. So this race going by surprisingly quickly despite all the cautions. Right now, Ethan Lane working turns 1 and 2. I don't believe we're choosing this time by, but because I'm not able to tell, we'll go ahead and pull up the camera anyways, in case this is the time for the field to choose. If it were Tuesday, I'd say I'd say it was Tuesday, but it's Monday, so that joke doesn't really work. Now does it? Looking like no one's choosing this time by, so I believe we'll be choosing next time by. But at the moment, the field chooses single file. We'll give another shout out to the league sponsor, Pro Powder and Paint. You can visit their website at www.propowderpaint.com, or feel free to call 804-368-8453 and get a quote today. That's propowderpaint.com or 804-368-8453. Pro Powder and Paint. Also got to give a shout out to the sponsor of this race, Fine Line Racing, with the Rowell the Dice 2 Electric Boogaloo here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Very interesting race logo. I'm sure we can all appreciate it. But at the moment, just working our 3rd caution of the night. If you just tuned into us, we have had 3 cautions in the first 44 laps. Ethan Lane has been dominant so far. Brad Mahar looking like a strong second driver. Bit of a disappointing long-run performance for the 34 of Justin Trombley. Alec Daffin from the pole has fallen to 5th. And at the moment, I believe we only have one retirement, Nick Williams, from this race. Everyone else has stuck it out so far. I believe we'll be choosing this time by. So, how are they going to choose? Lane goes low, a lot of drivers going high. A pretty even split throughout the field, but your top two, Ethan Lane and Brad Mahar, both choose the bottom line. So that is going to be how your top 4 stack up. It's going to be Lane, Wetmore, Mahar, and Patton, your top 4. Behind, you're going to have the 07 of Eric Crow and Alec Daffin, lining up P5 and P6. So, Mahar, under the choose cone, falls from 2nd to 3rd, but is now going to have a clear view of race leader Ethan Lane. Wetmore gains a spot, but is going to have to time the restart more accurately, and we are going back racing on lap 45 of 134. Stage 2, coming to a close a lot shorter than these guys expect. It's going to be just over a 20-lap sprint to the finish before the green-white checkered is displayed. Of course, no stage caution. Lane gonna line up as your leader. Wetmore in 2nd, Mahar 3rd, Mahar 2nd before choosing. Here we go, coming back to green. On board with Mahar for the restart. Pace car is off. Here we go, we're back green at Las Vegas. And an early jump for Ethan Lane is going to launch him out front of the field. Wetmore to 2nd, Patton to the outside of Mahar, headed towards turn number 1. Mahar, Patton side by side of 1. Lane with a massive gap early on. Wetmore fighting back. Side by side behind. Patton going out wide. Mahar clear to 3rd. 3 wide and the back of the pack. I believe that's Dewell, maybe stuck on the inside. They got it sorted back down. 1 car going to the apron. That's Brent McCoy. They scramble in a 3, but keep it safe. Up at the front, Ethan Lane over Wetmore. Wetmore going to push for the stage win side by side for 5th. Daffin and Crow. Crow up the track and arc it back to the bottom. Here comes Banfield from 7th. Banfield going to hop to the outside on Crow. Lifting off as they go to 3. They're battling for the lead. Here comes Wetmore down the inside. Tom Wetmore going to take the lead at Las Vegas. Coming up on lap 48, it's going to be Wetmore leading away. Lane in 2nd, looking back from the bumper of the 51. Lane on the bottom. Mahar maybe looking around the top. He is also glued onto that white line. Here comes Ethan Lane with a run down the back. They're going to scrap it out into 3 for this race lead. Lane dives it off into 3. He's going to take the lead. Going to have to slide up the track, though. Wetmore fights back on the inside. They're battling, coming into the start-finish line. Lap 49 of 134 underway. Less than 20 to go before the green-white checkers. Side by side still for 5th, Crow and Daffin. Wetmore all over that white line, looking at the bumper of Ethan Lane as they go down the back straightaway and headed for turn number 3. Arcing it in nice and high. Wetmore getting down to the bottom all over that white line, just painting it through 3 and 4, but he's falling a little bit back off of Ethan Lane. Looking at the gaps throughout the field now, for the most part, everyone's starting to settle down. I think they're realizing they can't be as aggressive as they thought they could be. After those cautions all came out, I think everyone just wants to settle into a longer run. Down the back straightaway, Ethan Lane leading away over Wetmore and Patton. Patton, one of the most aggressive drivers on the short run. I think all 3 of these guys are going to be going for that stage win, but is it going to hurt him in the long run? It just might. Off 4, down the front straightaway. Lane over Wetmore, over Patton, over Mahar, over Daffin. Your top 5 separated by less than a second. Lane on the gas for Patton, trying to arc it down to the bottom. 3 cars under a blanket going to 3. For the most part, though, the field has single-filed out back towards turns 3 and 4. Everyone just consistently hitting that bottom line lap after lap after lap. Precision hugely important here at the 1.5 miles. Patton trying to get a run on Wetmore down the front straightaway. Patton really turning that wheel, trying to get the car down to the bottom. I will say though, I'm not sure the iRacing cockpit camera is entirely accurate to their actual steering inputs. You can see that would imply that he is not steering at all going into the corner, and it would quite surprise me if that were the case. Off turn 4. Lane, Wetmore, and Patton, your top 3, separated by less than 0.4 of a second, but at the moment, no one making the move. I think they might just be waiting for an opportunity now. Here comes Patton down the inside. Wetmore looking up high, had to cut down to cover off Patton. Wetmore gets the run off too. Is anyone going to move up and try that second lane in 1 and 2? I have a feeling someone might, as these tires wear off just a little bit and these guys start searching for grip down in 1 and 2. It can get awful tight through the center. Coming to lap 54 of 134 here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Wetmore, Patton, Lane, top 3. Not in that order. It is Lane still leading after 53 laps. Now everyone moving up a little bit in 1 and 2, but I think everyone just dives down trying to get that exit. But in the long run, diving down like that is really going to hurt your tires. You don't want to force the car to the bottom if you don't have to. Patton up high, arcing it back to the bottom. Side by side behind, I saw one car getting shuffled out wide. Jacob Fife, he's been having a nice, quiet, and consistent run. He's worked his way up into the top 10. William Dunn, some bad luck early on in the season, is rebounding at the moment. He right now in the top 10, sitting P9. Still 0.4 between your leaders. I believe Mahar might be closing from 4th. Coming to lap 56 next time by. They're moving around to the back, going to 3. Patton still trying to get a run on Wetmore. Wetmore arcing the bottom, Patton arcing up top. The gap between the top 3 expanding just a little bit. It might come back together going into turns 1 and 2 once again. Right now, just everyone trying to arc it to the bottom in 1 and 2, but no one has tried just kind of hooking it around that middle lane. It seems a little risky, but I think it's going to pay off with a little bit more speed down the straightaways. Although, admittedly, you will get a little bit less speed immediately on exit. It'll pay off in the long run. The gap between the top 3 is extended to 0.5 of a second. It's looking like another dominant performance by Ethan Lane. Headed back towards turns 1 and 2. Still Lane over Wetmore for the most part. Everyone's single file throughout the field. However, I believe Banfield is trying to work his way down the inside of Eric Crow. Stage coming to a close in just about 10 laps. Down the front straightaway, Jody Banfield trying to go for a little bit of redemption after his bad luck at Homestead. Arcing it up high, trying to get a run to the bottom. Is he going to try and cross Crow over on exit? No, he is not. Fly by the field through turns 1 and 2. A couple of drivers in the back experimenting up high. There's a lot of great battles going on around that 17th spot. Take a look at this. Daniel Williamson right now leading over Samuel Roush. They're side by side behind. That is for P22. Winker around the outside of Lee Pierce. Meanwhile, Banfield is closed in on Eric Crow for that 6th position. We are under 10 to go in the stage. Is Wetmore going to try and maybe put a little bit more pressure on Lane? Doesn't look like it. Now here comes Banfield down the inside of Crow. Through 3 and 4, Banfield gets tight on the bottom. Crow going to fight back up top. Coming to the line, give the spot right now to Banfield. Banfield going to clear, going into 1. Now Alvarez looking to dive down the inside. Contact, Crow into the wall. They're wrecking in 1 and 2. Caution is out. Fife gets turned. Crow gets slammed into by the 81 of Kimball. They keep piling in. 4 cars involved. 4th caution of the night. Eric Crow, the first to go around, bringing out the caution. We'll take a look at a replay. We saw right there Alvarez made a daring move down the inside, and dare I say it might have just been a little bit of netcode between those two. Crow moves over to the left to try and cover off Alvarez. Alvarez to the inside. And that is some bad netcode right there. Crow gets sent around, overcorrects it into the wall, and it is on from there. Down the track, Fife gonna get tagged, slams it into the wall. Crow thinks he's clear and gets arca braked by the 81. They pile in up top. The 35 involved. But quite a bit of netcode there involved in that incident. We'll take a look. This should give us a pretty good idea of it. Take a look at this far chase camera. Not the most broadcasty, but you'll see right here, Crow makes that left turn to cover off the 83 and going in a 1. Yikes. Should give you a good idea of what happened there. That 81 car, you're going to see. Yeah, Kimball just might have expected him to be further down the track. He's going to pile into the 07, slams it into the wall, collects Dwell. Williamson checks up in time, slamming into the 53 of Hudson. They all pile in. Back live in the field is coming down pit road. That's a new one. I did not expect that many cars to pit. Looks like Alvarez on back going to come down pit road, but we'll get you updated on the strategy in just a moment. The fourth caution of the night, working lap 62 of 134 here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. No shortment of excitement tonight. And a little bit of, and I'm sorry, I know I said I wasn't going to make a lot of these puns, but a little bit of a strategy gamble going on right now. A couple of cars decided to stay out, but a lot of people came down pit road. Only 3 tire sets on hand for tonight, I believe. I'm not sure if that means 3 in the pits or if that means 3 in total. But looking at their stint, everybody from Alan Rowell on back is on tires. Everyone from Chris Ryan on up is not on tires. Jacob Fife staying out with, well, quite a bit of damage to that front end. See that right front just kind of bent up a little bit. Some drivers coming back in for more repairs. I don't believe we're choosing this time by. We are choosing next time by. At the moment, the car on the freshest tires who didn't pit would be the 80 of Chris Ryan, currently lining up P10. Like I said, though, everyone from Ethan Lane. Now it's Ethan Lane on back going to be on tires, so Rowell must have come in again. But one thing I want to take a look at is if they actually took tires or if it was just coming in for gas. Let's take a look. And rear chase camera says, does look like Lane came in for tires. Okay. So there is a chance that these drivers are only going to have 1 set left to stretch for just about 90 laps. No, that's not how math works. Just about 60 laps. And just from the schedule, it is listed as a tire limit of 3, so I believe that these drivers are going to have to stay on these tires for the rest of the race, so they are banking on this going green, but even then, I don't think they can make it the remainder of the race under green, or sorry, without pitting again, although I guess they might be hoping for a splash and dash. We'll see, we'll see. All right. We are choosing this time by coming to the start-finish line. We'll see what lane the leader picks. So I take a sip of some water. I actually don't know if we did choose that time by. We did. So Jacob Fife lining up, damaged on the inside. Probably going to impact the performance of that 36 Chevy. Been a manufacturer parity going on in the top 3 here. We got a Chevy, a Mustang, and a Toyota, your top 3. Justin Trombley lining up in second, one of the best at saving tires. Looking at their stint lengths, Trombley has fresher stuff by about a lap, although I don't know if that's going to make a difference. What's really going to make a difference is going to be, I'm going to say it's going to be that front right curled in on Jacob Fife's 36 machine. So, We're going to go back green this time by Jacob Fife, the control car. To the end of the stage, we are only going to have, if I can do math correctly, 3 laps. So the conclusion of lap 67 is going to be the end of stage 2. Here we go. Trombley from second, Fife from the lead. Back green at Las Vegas.
Green flag, green flag.
Back to turn 1. Fife breaks away from the field. They're scrambling behind. 3-4 wide as they dash to turn 1. Ryan caught up the field. Down to turns 1 and 2. Ryan through the middle. Cuts down low. Cuts off the one of Patton. Down the back straightaway for the lead. Here comes Trombley on the inside. Could be for the stage win. Trombley down the inside. Here comes Zotner down the inside. We haven't talked about Nick Zotner all race, but he's worked his way up into the top 3. 3 wide behind. Lane getting sideways off 4. Ryan gets stacked up behind the 28. They're all diving down onto the apron. Patton looking to go around the inside or outside of that 30 or 26 machine. Back to turn 1. It's Trombley over Zotner and Smith. Cody Smith down the inside. Contact. Off 2. They're 3-4 wide down the back. They're wrecking. Fife into the wall. Back straightaway. They're going around and scrambling. Caution, but they all kept it straight. Jacob Fife went around, kicked off the yellow. Justin Trombley going to win the stage. Caution is out. 5th yellow of the night. Jacob Fife got turned into the wall. They caught up behind him and accordioned into the outside wall. And on the back straightaway, that'll bring out our 5th caution of the night. Looking at a replay, Jacob Fife, they went 3 wide behind him, and I believe Sam Roush, no, actually. So Fife, they were 4 wide. Fife slid up into the 51 of Wetmore, got turned. And you're going to see Lane gets piled into by Patton. Daffin into Patton, they're wrecking. But in the end, they all kept it straight. You can see everyone made it through. They made more contact. Fife gets sent low, but an incredible job by the field to avoid everybody spinning. I really got to tip my hat to the field. That was an impressive avoidance by everybody involved. I believe the 98 of Banfield had a bit of a close call there going down the back. Gyro cam on the 98. Already, he was in a bit of a close call. They went 3 wide down the front straightaway. Take a look at this for Banfield. I believe he got very close to the wrecking 36 car. Might have been the 28 as well. I know it was a black car who got close. You see Banfield splitting the middle, stacking up behind Ryan, and they all went around in front of him. Fife, ooh, almost tags the 98. But Banfield splits the middle, gets the job done. For the stage, it will be the 34 winning it. But now dives it onto the pit lane, which means at this point, I believe everybody has used up their tires. It'll be Sam Roush in third with the strategy call. The drivers who are still out on tires will be Cody Smith, Christopher Schetzler, and Samuel Roush. Each of them 25, 30, and 37 laps on their stint respectively. Freshest tires in the field. Going to come from Justin Trombley. But at this point, a lot of these guys have used up all of the extra tire sets they have, which means they are going to have to hope for a green race to the finish. It's going to be Cody Smith lining up as your leader when we go back green. I do believe that it was... I shouldn't speak too soon. I do believe it was the 34 Trombley who won the stage, although we might have pitted too early. Either way, though, we're going back green, I believe, in 2 laps' time, so we'll be choosing next time by. Reminder, you can choose the inside, you can choose the outside, you cannot choose the cone. Bit of a misleading name if they call it the choose cone. You may now proceed to laugh. Gotta find something to talk about under caution. Right now, working lap 69 of 134. When we go back green, it'll be 64 laps remaining in this race. we will be choosing this time by. You know what? If you are in chat, get your predictions in now. Which way do you think Cody Smith from the lead is going to choose? Personally, I think he might be taking the top. We've seen it be a bit of an advantage on the initial launch. It helped Ethan Lane get out to a massive lead the time that he chose it. But he could always be a little bit more traditional and choose the inside line. Choose, choose, choose. Here we go. Oh, maybe Smith gonna take the inside. Come on, take the outside, buddy. I know you want to. Oh, he's gonna take the inside. Top two take the inside. Sam Roush gonna be the first on the high lane. Everybody scrambling around behind. Cody Smith, opposite to my prediction, gonna choose the bottom. So it'll be Smith, Roush, your race leaders. They have been out on tires for 27 and 39 laps respectively. Watch for wheel spin as these guys got to get a first gear start. It's gonna put them right at the end of that rev range. Hopefully those tires are gonna catch, or else we're gonna see some chaos going towards turn one. So here we go. Getting closer to the ending parts of this race. Already on lap 70 of 134, this race has just flown by us. Not a lot of green flag racing, to be honest. Haven't had a long run in a while. I believe that's Heischman at the back coming out of the pit lane. First car on new tires. Gonna be that fourth place driver of Tom Wetmore, 8 lap old tires on that car. So it's going to be Smith and Roush, your top two. We'll see if they spin the tires, getting back green. We'll be on board with the first car on fresh tires, Tom Wetmore, as we go back green this time by. Damage to the left and right front on Wetmore, green. Flag, green flag, green flag.
Green flag, green flag.
No wheel spin out of the top two. They get it going down towards turn number one. Wetmore side by side with Schetzler going to one. Here comes Wetmore. Is going to make the dive to the bottom. They're 3 wide through 1 and 2. Roush up top. Going to get the run off the high side. Or they're going to go 4 wide going to turn number 3. Wetmore going to think better of it. Back to 3 wide. Roush holding on the outside. 3, 4 wide. There's contact. Up the track goes Wetmore. They're stacking up as they go up high. They're going to accordion into the wall. They're stacking up on the front straightaway. 3 wide. William Dunn looking at a gap. Back to turn 1. Tarabutt crowding Patton up the track. Through turns 1 and 2. Cody Smith over Ethan Lane at the front of the field. Back down the back straightaway. They all kept it clean, despite crowding into the wall in 3 and 4. No harm, no foul. Everyone keeps it going. Contact! Patton up the track. He's going to save it. Patton falling back. He's going to get swarmed. 3, 4 wide. Daniel through the middle. They're spinning in front of him. 1 car up the outside. They're wrecking on the front straightaway. Williamson into the wall. They're crashing in 1 and 2. Frolic around. Patton around. Caution out on lap 73. Big crash on the front straightaway. It started with everyone getting stacked up and they all went around up front. So the caution is back out. 6th caution of the night, going to come on lap 73 of 134. We'll take a look at a replay as usual. That was a little bit too far, but you can see Williamson slammed the wall. Patton avoided him, but Williamson just cut right back down the racetrack and slammed into that 17. Yikes. Everyone's scrambling to avoid him. But it did all start with that 9 car of Daniel Williamson. So we'll get a look at a replay here. Going through 1 and 2, you see Patton gets stacked up the track. Williamson through the middle. And I think it might have been next lap that it happened, but... Oh, no. Okay, so the 24 of Schetzler gets sideways. Williamson piles in. Backs it up into the 17 of Frolic, who turns him into the wall. Williamson slams the wall, back down the track into Frolic, and that's what kicked it off. But now the question remains, what happened to that 24 car of Schetzler? And And, oh, contact with Banfield sent him sideways. And in the end, it stacked them all up. Williamson into the wall. They all went wrecking behind. But a great wreck... Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say a great wreck avoidance by Brad Fulham, but in the end, it was a really good wreck avoidance by the 29 of Brent McCoy. Let's ride on board. You can see they start stacking up in 3 and 4, patting up the track. And you're going to see in a moment here a sliding 24 car in front of the field. McCoy knows just what to do. He does, however, ram into the 17. But once it all kicks off, he's able to just wait for those 2 cars to split, gasses it through the middle, and McCoy makes it through. But the caution is out. Cody Smith going to be your race leader, and at this point, the drivers who were out on tires are going to get bailed out of their strategy. They can come in and get some fresh rubber on their vehicles. Given, of course, that they have a tire set left, actually. I'm not entirely sure. I'd assume they do, though. Yeah, I think at this point, old tires aren't really going to be an issue. The oldest tires in the field are still going to be Cody Smith in the lead, so let's hope he doesn't spin them on the restart. For the 6th caution of the night, we are working lap 75 of 134. Race leader, still Cody Smith. Your dominant car, Ethan Lane, mired back in traffic. Might have a little bit of damage. Let's get an update on Ethan Lane. Go ahead and move back to him. Lots of rear end of that 26 car. With the dominant speed he's had, it wouldn't surprise me if he was able to make it back to the front. I would bring him in for a mid-race interview, but I don't entirely know how he'd feel about that. That 26 car, though, we'll have to keep an update on him throughout the race because he was really fast early on. Although at the moment, with all that rear-end damage... You know what? I'm going to go ahead and try and bring him up into the booth. Let's see how this goes. Ethan, it's Jonathan Oates up in the TMG broadcast booth for a bit of a mid-race interview. You got us?
Got you.
Well, you had a really fast car early on, but now you're going to be stuck back in traffic. You got a little bit of rear-end damage. Is that car still as fast as it was early in the race? Or are you maybe going to struggle here in the last few laps of it?
I think we're like probably 2 mile an hour off down straight line speed, so it's going to hurt us a little bit. But if we did what we did that first run, we should be able to do at least get a top 5, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I saw in that first run you were incredibly fast out at the front of the field. But has the goal changed at all from the start of the race when you were dominating? I mean, do you still think you can go after that win?
I don't know if we can go after the win. Brad's fast, and we were barely starting to pull away from him that first run before that first caution. So, I mean, all I'm shooting for right now is top 5, top 10. If we have a shot at the win, we're going to go for it.
All right, well, good luck. We're going to go ahead and send you back, and thank you for joining us.
All right, thank you.
That was Ethan Lane, driver of the number 26. He was able to join us for a bit of a mid-race interview. Your race leader, Cody Smith, takes the inside lane. It's going to be Smith, Mahar, Tarabuck, and William Dunn, your top 4. Tarabuck inside, Dunn outside. The amount of clean cars in this field starting to come down. This race turning into a little bit of a slugfest out in Las Vegas. Pace car going to make the left turn on to the pit lane. We're going to go back green with just about 60 laps remaining. We'll see if Cody Smith can take off with those 39-lap old tires. 34-lap old tires, I should say. Pace car is off. Green flag, green flag, green flag. We're back racing.
Green flag, green flag.
And a bad restart by the 84 of Brad Mahar. Going to mire him back in traffic. William Dunn looking to the outside. They're going to single file out towards turn 1. They're blocking it at turn number 1. Dunn looking high. Tarabuck down low. Mahar all the way to the bottom, getting on the bumps there in 1 and 2. Now pressuring Tarabuck for second. Is he going to look down the inside? They're scrambling down the back straightaway. One car loose up top. They kept it clean. Back towards turn number 3. Mahar on the inside. Tarabuck on the outside. Mahar sliding up in front of the 4. Going to get the spot. William Dunn now the inside. William Dunn looking like a very strong dark horse pick for the win here. He's moved his way up to third. Right now, they're all chasing after that 18 car. Cody Smith, oldest tires in the field, up in the front. Banfield slips up from fourth. Up the track just a little bit, they're battling for third. Side by side, Tarabuck and Dunn. Down the back straightaway, here they go into turns number 3 and 4. Mahar up the track, gonna try and get the run on Cody Smith. Smith gonna pinch him to the outside wall. William Dunn coming with a huge head of steam in that 43 car. Is he gonna look to the middle? He's gonna stay in line, gonna try and split the gap going into 1. The door closed on him just as fast as it opened. Smith up the track, gonna stack up the 4 of Tarabuck through 1 and 2. New leader, Brad Mahar. Covering up the spot is Cody Smith, gonna stack up Banfield, going to 3. Banfield maybe looking to the outside, 3 wide, no. Gonna stay in line, gonna cut back underneath him. Back down the front straightaway for the lead, William Dunn. Looking for redemption from a disappointing start to the season. He is fighting for the lead as they go into turn number 1. He's on the bumper of Mahar. Their tires just about equal. In fact, for the most part, everyone in the field's got about 20-lap-old tires. The first car on single-digit tires is going to be all the way, if I can find him. Yeah, that's going to be Ethan Lane, who we just interviewed under caution, all the way back in 10th. Back up at the front, Mahar and Dunn going at it for the lead. Mahar holding on. Dunn looking around the outside, trying to cut back low. Everyone committed to that single line through turns 1 and 2. It's the line you got to take if you want to be fast. Mahar looking low in a 3. Big dive out of the 43 car. Mahar cutting back low. They're rolling it through turns 3 and 4. Back to the front straightaway, coming to lap 83. Jody Banfield rolling up into the 3rd spot. A lot of these drivers had disappointing showings at Homestead. Now they're looking for redemption. All of them inside the top 3 at the moment. Off 2, down the back. Battle for 5th. Winker holding on over Cody Smith. The tire strategy is shaking up the field on its head. Keep in mind, though, a lot of these tires are going to have to stay this old until the end of the race. Ethan Lane, freshest tires on the field, diving it down the inside on Hudson. The battle for the lead continuing. 3 cars under a blanket as Lane works his way through the field. It's getting intense at the front. Brad Mahar holding on. They're scrambling in 1 and 2. Everyone looking for grip down in those first 2 corners. It gets sketchy on the bottom. It gets sketchy up top. Through turns 3 and 4, Ryan holding on to the outside of Schetzler. Now that 84 of Daffin up the track. Ryan, Schetzler side by side to the line. Ethan Lane to 6th. They're stacking up on the high side going into turn number 1. Brad Mahar leading by a 10th over Dunn. Can William Dunn go for the lead, get his first laps led in the series? And more importantly, in the grand scheme of things, will they have to pit again? William Dunn trying to make the middle work. Now here comes Jody Banfield. Banfield putting a lot of pressure on Dunn and Mahar for the lead. Ethan Lane about to put a lot of pressure on him, but remember, he has damage. Tires or damage, which one do you want less? Now it's going to be 4 cars under a blanket with Nick Tarabuck joining the battle for the lead. All these drivers on 24-lap-old tires. Even Kevin Winker in that 5th spot, his tires they ran the same distance as this top 3. So really, you got to look back to Ethan Lane with damage for drivers who are going to be able to contend on strategy. William Dunn, great arc through 1 and 2, still trying to put pressure on Mahar for the lead. Coming up on lap 87, we're reaching that lap 100 mark ever so slowly. Dunn getting a little tight through center of 3 and 4. Banfield looking to put the pressure on him. And Ethan Lane still not made up a lot of ground on Winker. He's having to shortcut that front straightaway to make up for the lost speed on the throttle. Lane trying out that middle line, trying to keep the momentum up. You got to do it when your car's damaged like that. On board with Lane. Moving down the inside on Winker. He is going to make the dive in a 3 and 4. And Ethan Lane is broken back into the top 5. That beated and battered 26, not giving up. Meanwhile, that 17 car, Neil Froelich going a lap down. The battle for the lead continues. William Dunn on the bumper of Mahar. And Dunn is just so much better through the center of 1 and 2, but Mahar pulls away on the straightaways. You're going to see right here, just Dunn can get into the corner and roll it so much better, but when it comes to getting on the gas, no one can beat Mahar off the corner. It's especially in 1 and 2 where William has his advantage. Meanwhile, Ethan Lane working his way around the lap traffic. William Dunn trying out a few different lines here, trying to improve his exits. Just got to be a little bit more confident on the throttle. All eyes on the Haas logo on Mahar's back bumper as they head back towards turns 3 and 4. Dunn running lower on entry. He's really close now. Mahar pulling low. Back to the front straightaway, coming around to lap 91. Two main battles on track. The first one for the lead, the second one for third, as Banfield has gotten around Nick Terbuck. Update on Ethan Lane. He has gotten passed back by Christopher Schetzler. Schetzler, another driver on 16-lap tires, so he might be able to make a charge at the lead here, as Banfield and Terbuck are back to fighting. Banfield going to try and cross Terbuck over on exit. Terbuck holds on. Back to the front straightaway, William Dunn still trying to gain on Brad Mahar. Banfield on Terbuck into 1. Terbuck holds on entry. And again, I think they're going to have to pit one more time. But for the drivers that I don't know. I know the drivers in the lead are going to have to pit one more time. But for the guys who are on 17-lap tires, it's going to be a lot closer. Might be a fuel mileage race between the top drivers when it's all said and done. No pun intended for William Dunn. Speaking of William Dunn, I believe he might have burnt up his stuff just a little bit trying to go after Mahar. He's fallen off the bumper quite a bit. Jody Banfield now under pressure. Never mind, not under pressure from Christopher Schetzler, because Schetzler has gotten around him. Schetzler, one of the drivers who might be able to make it to the end of the race. Potentially. Fuel run here, just about going to be 55 laps. Then again, this track does have a lot more on-throttle time than Homestead Miami, so it might be a little bit under that. It's going to be close. Lap 95 of 134 underway at the moment. Still a long way to go, and a very handy caution could bail out a lot of these drivers. Oh my goodness, Christopher Schetzler all the way up to the wall in 1 and 2. They say dynamic track is broken. Schetzler might have lost a little bit of time there. We'll see what his time compares to at the line. Last time by, Schetzler ran a 32.340. Running that high line in 1 and 2 is going to give him a 32.522. So lost about a 10th running up high. Learned from his mistake. He's going to run back low, but still around that middle line. You don't want to burn up your tires by going all the way low. I know Isaac pointed out last week that these engines operate a little bit more efficiently at a higher RPM, so you want to keep that RPM up through the corners. Back to the battle for 7th. Here comes Trombley down the inside of Winker. Justin Trombley, one of the guys on 27-lap old tires. So he's just in between your leaders and the drivers who pitted later. I'd watch out for Schetzler, though. He is the fastest car on track by quite a bit. Actually, he's not. But his tires are some of the best on track. They're better by about 14 laps over race leader Brad Mahar, but now he might want to settle in and start thinking about saving fuel for the end of the race. Terbuck right now trying to pressure Dunn for 2nd. Terbuck had an incredibly fast car at the Daytona Road Course and at Homestead. He's going for a season best result tonight at Vegas. Back to turn 1 and on board with the 4 car. And you can hear how he just had to get off the gas, and you can hear that exact moment he gets back to full throttle. It's go ahead and listen in to Nick Tarabuck as he negotiates 3 and 4. Tag the wall a little bit on entry. And you can just hear how he had to really pedal the throttle there. You couldn't just get on it all at once. He had to really ease onto it. Meanwhile, Christopher Schetzler has fallen off the pace even more. And Mahar is having to deal with lap traffic. He's going to get stacked up by Williamson off 4. I got to imagine at this point, Mahar is struggling with his tires. He's been on them for 37 laps. And I don't think he's even going to be able to get bailed out by pitting because he might have used all of his sets up. So it's going to be very, very close on tire wear to the end. You got to make sure you don't blow that right front. It gets very low over a long run here. We'll go on board with the 84 car of Brad Mahar. Listen in as he feathers that throttle, getting back to the gas. Just got to be so careful with it. You got to make sure you don't get too loose or too tight and end up in the outside wall. Towards 3 and 4. Brad Mahar has been perfect throughout this last half of the run. 34 laps to go in Las Vegas, and now we'll get an idea of how these tires are stacking out. And at the moment, Christopher Schetzler would have to go 34 more laps on an already long fuel run. So I'm not sure if anyone is going to be able to make it to the end. Another 34 laps, he will have gone 60 laps on one tank, and that is a lot to ask out of these cars. He also has some of the best tires in the race, so he pitted the latest and presumably got fuel. So at the moment, the main battle on track is between Tarabuck and William Dunn, although Tarabuck has now gotten around William Dunn. Looking at lap times between Tarabuck and Mahar, Tarabuck running considerably slower by about a tenth, although considering he did have to get around Dunn, might not be an entirely fair estimate. Back to the front straightaway this time by that 52 car, running up against the wall, getting out of the way of the second place driver. It's going to get close off turn 4, but that time by at the line. Tarabuck still, actually, ran about a tenth faster than Mahar. A 32.79 compared to a 32.7 flat, and all of that about a second and a half off their best lap. So that is how far these tires have fallen. Battle for third developing between Schetzler and Dunn. On board with the 24. You can just see how you got to slide that car off the corner. Now Mahar runs a 32.683 to Tarabuck's 32.682. So about matched for those lap times. Schetzler running higher in 1 and 2, trying to run down William Dunn. 30 laps remaining for your race leader. Brad Mahar has been dominant almost this entire race. Or at least this entire last half of the race. It switched around quite a bit between Lane, Mahar. At one point it was looking like William Dunn had the fastest car in the field. So now we'll have to see if Schetzler can stretch the field. He doesn't appear to be saving. So there is a chance that he might be okay. If he does finish top 3, we'll ask him about it in his post-race interviews down the back straightaway. Schetzler and Dunn, that battle's still developing. I think Schetzler might be running a little bit easier on the tires than he has to. He's running in that middle lane. Haven't really seen it all night in 3 and 4. Might just be trying to make that multi-groove work. Under 30 to go at Vegas. Got a little close between him and the lap car going into turn number 1. That was Neil Froelich on the high side. Schetzler having to jump out of the gas quite a bit. At the front of the field, Brad Mahar ran 44 laps so far, Give it 10 laps, he'll be in the fuel window. Give it 20 laps, he might be out. And you can just feel the tension right now. I mean, there's so much on the line. You got to get a win down, you know. Execution is so important in racing. Putting together good runs is one thing, but being able to execute on those good runs and deliver a win, I mean, that's a whole nother thing that you got to know how to do. Leading is one thing, winning is another, and right now that's got to be on the minds of everybody here. Perfect execution for the next over 20 laps. Schetzler all the way on that white line, and do keep in mind, I don't know how many of these drivers have another set of tires to bail them out. So when Mahar comes down the pit lane, we'll have to see if he is even able to take tires, because I don't know if he will be. One car in the pits, it is the 79 of Christopher Daniel, and you can see right there, the car's not getting jacked up, so I do believe that these drivers are not going to be able to take tires. Which means by the end of this run, these tires will have gone over 60 laps. That is an insane amount of time for these tires to have ran. This battle, the main one on track, but like I said, I mean, the main battle is going to be between these drivers and the fuel window. I'm a lot more confident that Schetzler can make it, but it's going to be a fuel mileage win if he does. I know Mahar can't unless he is seriously saving. We can go on board with him and listen to his throttle inputs and see if he's coasting it. You can hear that exact moment, that engine just roars back to full song. 25 to go at Homestead. He's still driving it pretty deep in a 1. It's giving him a lot of time right now. Running around that middle lane, just having to correct a little slide through the center, a little slide on exit. Down the back straightaway, Tarabuck and Mahar, your top 2. So now we are just waiting. And here he goes, 84 car into the pit lane. Brad Mahar brings it in. Got to make sure not to lock up, can't kill those fronts any more than he already had. They're wrecking on track.
Caution is out.
Caution! Justin Trombley in the lead at the time of yellow. That's going to bail out everyone who is out on fuel. They wrecked on the front straightaway just as Mahar brought it to pit road. He's still going to commit to that stop. And he still has tires. And that's a new one. So Brad Mahar going to be able to get a new set of tires for the end of this race. Justin Trombley, your leader. And this changes everything. And Christopher Schetzler involved in the wreck. Wow. This turns the whole race on its head. Justin Trombley now in the catbird seat. If he pits and has tires, he might have this thing won. Could Trombley go 2 in a row? Does he have the tires to do it? And even if he does, I mean, you got to consider that Brad Mahar, he's not exactly out of this race. He's not going to have the track position, but once everyone else pits, he's going to cycle at least close to the front. He pitted just around the perfect time. So Trombley brings it in. Is he going to have the tires? The right sides go up for Trombley and Ethan Lane. So they all have tires to make it. Christopher Schetzler stopped at the end of pit road, might have to let someone by. Might have overshot his pit box. Gets back going. Brad Mahar, back to your race lead. So forget what I said. I think Mahar is actually going to be in a fine position to take this win. Tarabuck and Mahar both took tires. Let's take a look at a replay. Because this caution came out in quite possibly the most exciting time for the race. And it actually started with Schetzler. It's a little surprising to me. He might have spun it getting onto pit road, but he had some of the freshest tires in the field. We'll switch to a chopper cam. Take a look at this off turn 4. We'll slow it down. Oh, and okay. So William Dunn was pitting. Schetzler didn't realize, piled into the back of the 43, and they wrecked on the front straightaway. And that is what brought out the caution, and they piled in behind. And Jody Banfield Terrible luck for the 98 car. Was having such a great run going, it's piled into trying to check up for the wreck. That's just got to be terrible luck. But you can see him wrecking. Banfield gets on the brakes. Great heads-up driving. But unfortunately, that 79 car just doesn't have the same idea. Piles into the 89, slams him into the 24. And that brings out the caution for two cars spinning on the front straightaway. And at the front of the field, it's going to be Brad Mahar, Nick Tarabuck, Justin Trombley, and Ethan Lane. Your top four, all of whom came down pit road and got tires. So they did have enough tire sets to make it to the end. We're going to go back green with under 20 laps to go. I don't believe we're choosing this time by, although we might be. And the choose cone now going to be more important than ever. You want to get as much track position as you can. Oh, wrong camera. There we go. So while this doesn't quite change everything like I thought it might, it's going to put everyone back on fresh tires and stack them up at the front of the field with a short run remaining. I don't think we're choosing this time. Staying in line at the moment, we'll be choosing next time by, as all those wave around cars get their lap back. Mahar going to get to catch up to the field in just a moment. Working our 7th caution of the night. Might not be the last one, depending on how aggressive people get on this restart. No matter what, though, we're in for a fun race. And actually, never mind, we were choosing that time by. So, the choices of your leaders. Mahar takes the inside, Trombley to the outside, Tarabuck to the inside, Fulham to the high side. Brad Fulham, haven't talked about him all race. Ethan Lane back to 5th. Did anybody stay out under caution? No. So everyone on fresh tires, everyone hyped up, ready to go with 20 laps remaining in the desert. So to everybody at home, strap yourselves in, welcome along for the ride. It's time for some chaos here on TMG. We'll have 20 laps to go on this restart. Mahar and Trombley are front row. Last week's winner looking to go 2 in a row in. Mahar looking to win in one of his first starts this season. Pace car is off. Mahar's going to stack him up and light him up. Green flag is back out. And a great jump by your top two. Getting down towards turn number 1. Mahar leading over Trombley. Trombley files back in line. They're all scrambling through 1 and 2. Pretty organized as they get down the back straightaway. No chaos at the moment. They're spinning in the back. They're wrecking. Back straightaway. 5 cars involved. No caution. It was all off track. We stay green at the moment. Down the front straightaway. Mahar over Trombley. Trombley going to give it everything he's got. No caution because it was all on the apron. Tarabuck on the inside of Lane. Lane, power move around the outside of Tarabuck. Meanwhile, in the back, Jacob Fife looking to make the highline work. Gets to the outside of Lee Pierce going down the back straightaway. Back up to the front, Trombley and Mahar. 19 to go. It's going to be just long enough to be, it's going to be short enough to be aggressive, but long enough that you're going to have to worry about those tires by the end of it. On board with the 34. Back towards turn number 1. Brad Mahar still in control, trying to give Trombley all that dirty air that he can. Admittedly, with the small spoiler, it's not much. Trombley to the bottom. They're going to duel it out for the lead. We might see another fantastic finish like we saw last week at Homestead. Trombley to the bottom. They're all under a blanket coming down the front straightaway. We know how good Trombley is. We saw how fast he was and how good he was on his tires last weekend at Homestead. Is he going to try it again? The top two both have an I rating above 7,000. So that should give you an idea of how stacked the field is. 3 wide off turn 2. The lap car, Williamson, nowhere to go. Stacks him up. Here comes Tarabuck down the inside, sending it into 3. Side by side for the lead. Mayhar holding on to the outside. They're going to duel it out off turn 4. Back to the line. Brad Mayhar holding on. Trombley on the inside. Mayhar going to have the run off too here. Going to take a sip of water. A lot of space given between the top 2. No space between 3 and 4. Down the back. Mayhar with the run. Is he going to cut off Trombley to 3? Yes, he does. Mayhar back to the bottom. As Lane tries to get around the outside of Trombley. What a move! Side by side off 4. Trombley to the inside. Lane to the outside. Looking 3 wide. Back to 1. 15 to go. Contact! Mayhar out of line. Lane down the inside. Mayhar going to get the run. They're going to be stacked up, piling on top of each other for a second as Trombley leads down the back. Another lap car going to get in the way. Mayhar up top, trying to make the high line work. Well, high-ish line. Lane tight off 2. They're door to door. Trombley gets stacked up by the lap car. Lane using him as a pick 3 wide for a moment. Back to turn 1. Mayhar on the outside, trying to get the run. Clears Lane down to 1. Big dive by Tarabuck for 3rd. Mayhar off 2 with the run. Lap car again. All the wrecks we've seen throughout the night has stacked a lot of lap cars in front of the field, and unfortunately it's the 43 of William Dunn. Lane, wide entrance into the corner. Is he going to get the run off 4 that he needs to try and get to the inside of Mayhar? 3 cars stacked on top of each other, bumper to bumper for the lead. 13 to go. Trombley might have this one. He might start to pull away, but there is always a chance Mayhar's going to fight back. Down the back straightaway, Mayhar in the slipstream. Nice and wide in a 3. Trombley may be a little bit too narrow. Mayhar dives it down to the bottom. He's harvicking that white line. Trombley loose off 4. They're diving onto the bottom. Trombley still leading. Mayhar still second. 12 laps to go. Look at Mayhar trying to get a run on the bottom. Sliding up the racetrack though, nearly walls it off turn 2. This is incredible racing for the lead. Mayhar now hooking that white line. Lane getting tight off 4. 11 laps to go at Las Vegas. The fighting continuing at the front. They're stacked on top of each other for the lead. I think at some point someone's got to try running higher in 1 and 2. You can keep the momentum up. You just can't get as tight through the center. The gap between the top 2, still 0.2 of a second. It's not widening. They're 3 wide in the back, going to 3. How about that? Fife strung out up high. They're clear of Winker through 1 and 2. Through 3 and 4, sorry. 0.2 between your top 2. 10 laps remaining here at Las Vegas. I'm realizing now it said Homestead on the ticker the whole time. I keep forgetting to update that. We'll go ahead and switch that over now. The gap between the top 2 remaining pretty much static. On board with the 34. Or sorry, the 84. We're coming up on 9 laps to go. It's a stalemate at the front of the field. Trombley a little lower through 1 and 2. It's going to give Mayhar a run off the high side. The momentum up top going to help him down the back. The gap between the top 2 closing up to a 10th as Trombley used up his stuff. Down to 3. Mayhar hooking the bottom line. He gets onto the apron. It's going to push him up the track. Not enough to derail his charge. Still only 0.2 between your leaders. On board once again with the 84. It's Mayhar going lower this time. Trombley dives it in through center. Mayhar slips up. Lap car going to be in the way, headed for 3. 2.5 between your leaders. Mayhar's entrance compromised. Trombley's entrance compromised, sorry. Mayhar diving it lower. Schutzler gets out of the way. 0.3 between your top 2. Has Mayhar used it all up? The gap coming down just a little bit. Back towards turn 1. I don't know why Mayher is going so deep into 1 and 2. He was better when he ran up top. Maybe he just feels a little more comfortable down there. The gap is extended, though, 3/10. Mayhar's got to run higher in a 1 and 2. He's just running way too low. He gets such a good run off 4, though. If they're side by side coming to the line, Mayher might have the advantage. You got to run higher, though. You got to run higher. It's still way too low in a 1 and 2. He was able to get a turn down that time, though. Still 1.5 tenths. If it comes down to it, would he use the bumper? He's closed up the gap this time by, and he's better in 3 and 4. The balance of this race hanging in the balance. It's never been closer between the top two. About 1/10.5 off 4. I think Mayhar's figured something out here. 5 to go at Las Vegas. The duel continues. Mayher riding it up top, and that's where he's been better. He's going to be right on the bumper going to 3. How much of a fight is Tromley going to put up, though? Mayhar's all over the bumper. It's less than 1/10. Lap car gets out of the way of Jody Banfield. He's going to be in the way off 4, though. Come on, man, get out of the way. Good exit for Mayher. He's on the bumper. Mayher has the line through 1 and 2. Trombley lower. Mayher dives it. He's rolling the center. That's just what he did. That's just what he needs to do. Here they come off turn 2. Mayher going to get to the outside. They're side by side going to turn 3. Slow car going to be in the way as they rocket through turns 3 and 4. They might end up 3 abreast with the lap car. Mayher backs out. Going to try and cross Trombley over. He's back to the outside. Going to try and pinch him through 1 and 2. 3 to go at the line. He's back to the outside. Trombley shoving him up the track. Mayher trying to get the pass done up high. He's got the run. Huge swing of momentum out of the 84. Slow car in the way. They're piling off too. Brad Mayher back to the lead. And a textbook pass by Mayher gets him to the outside of Trombley and gets him to the race lead. That could be the race right there. It was a beautiful move by Mayher to get the lead. Can Trombley fight back, though? Does he have anything for him? White flag next time by. If push comes to shove, will they use the bumpers? 2 laps remaining in Las Vegas. It's going to come down to this. The battle for third continues as well. Lane on the outside of Terbuck. But here they come to the line. White flag, 1 lap to go. Justin Trombley was perfect for the opening part of that last stint, but he choked it up around a lap car, got a little bit too loose, and it gave Mayher the lead. 1 car blowing up down the back, gets out of the way of the leaders. 3/10 as they go to turn 3. Brad Mayher gonna hold on through turns 3 and 4, and for the first time this season, Brad Mayher gonna bring the 84 off turn 4, and he is gonna win at Las Vegas. It's gonna be Mayher at the line. They're side by side for third. Ethan Lane gets the spot over Terbuck. Sorry, Terbuck actually gets him at the line. But Brad Mayher, for the first time this season, takes the checkered flag and wins it at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Trombley comes up just short of making it 2 in a row, and what a battle that was for the win. They're crossing each other over left and right, and it's Mayher who brings it home, your race winner in Las Vegas. No gambles required, no luck. It was all skill there at the end. Second week in a row now, we've seen an incredible battle for the race win. This time, though, Trombley comes out second best. Brad Mayher, your race winner. Gonna burn it down here at Las Vegas. A well-deserved celebration after a majorly hard-fought victory. And a beautiful paint scheme on that 84 as well. It's gonna park it on the front straightaway, and that is your race winner, Brad Mayher. We are gonna bring him up for an interview. It was an incredible battle all the way to the line. Let's bring him up into the booth if we can. currently he is not in a voice channel. So while he takes the time to join, we are going to go and take a look at that last lap duel between Nick Tarbuck and Ethan Lane. The series just continuing to provide incredible racing. But this right here was the last lap. You saw that car blowing up off too. And down the back straightaway, Nick Tarbuck gets to the inside of Ethan Lane. And it's the move for the win right here. He's going to slide it down the inside. He's just going to get tight enough off 4 to push Lane up the track. And coming to the line. Lane had the momentum. And wins the race back to the line. So a job well done by Tarbuck to get that final spot at the line. We'll try and get one more good look at it here. A little bit closer up this time by. And it was just such a good move by Tarbuck to get down to the inside, hold with Lane going down the back, and right here in a 3. I mean, it was a textbook pass by Tarbuck to just hold down the Ford on the inside. Push him up the track, and coming to the line. That right there going to be the margin. They make contact, and Tarbuck gets it barely at the line. So now we're going to try and bring up Brad Mahar into the broadcast booth and talk to him about those last few laps. Although he is still not in a voice channel, so we're going to go and bring up Justin Trombley into the booth. Justin, it's Jonathan Oates up in the TMG broadcast booth. You got us?
I got you.
Well, you came up incredibly close there on that last run. I mean, it looked like you had him for a little bit. But what happened there around that lap car that lost you the lead?
All that pretty much happened was I thought we'd have yellows going from that last restart all the way to the end, so I pushed my tires way, way too hard to try to get track position because I wanted control of the restarts. But it actually went green, so it kind of screwed me in the end, but that's all right.
Well, after you came away with a victory at Homestead. You came up just short here with the second place finish, but still 2 incredibly strong finishes back to back. I mean, what do you think this means for the rest of your season?
Oh, it definitely helps. Win would have helped a little more, but I mean, second place, I think I won second stage tonight, so I mean, it was a good points day for sure. I mean, if I can run for a championship, I'm going to try. I race in real life, so it's hard sometimes, but I'm going to do what I can.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you would have wanted to win there, but in the end, second place it's still a great result. And who would you like to thank for this result tonight?
Yeah, let's just thank Pro Power and Paint and Nick Froelich for sponsoring the race tonight. Brad's my buddy. We had a hell of a race. Thank him for racing. It was a good time. And Sean Kimball for coming and racing. And good luck to everybody next week.
All right, well, thank you for joining us up in the booth. We're gonna go ahead and send you back. Once again, huge congratulations on your second place finish, and we'll see you next week at Atlanta, or at least Phoenix. Got that
Phoenix,
one wrong.
Yeah. Have a good night.
You too. And that was Justin Trombley, who came up just short of a win here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Man, I just can't get enough of that pass off too. Take a look at it one more time, huh? Just such a textbook pass here. You're going to see that 84 car just gets right to the outside of Trombley. And he was just able to get the better momentum off, too. And with that lap car stacking him up, I mean, I think that Trombley just moved over a little bit too far. And that right there is what got the 84 of Mahar the race win. Speaking of Brad Mahar, I'm going to look for him again in the Discord because I really want to talk to him about that battle there. And now we can go and bring him up into the broadcast booth. Brad, it's Jonathan Oates up in the TMG broadcast booth. You got us?
Sure.
Well, man, you drove an incredible race there at the end. A great battle between you and Justin. It was incredible to commentate over up here in the booth. But for a while there, it looked like you were slipping back off his bumper for a little bit. Walk us through what you were thinking for that last run of the race.
To back off him a little bit, try to stay out of his dirty air, find a lane he wasn't running and where I could make up a little bit of time. Just worked on keeping a little heat out of the tires, and just made a run for it the last 5-6 laps.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, you were able to get that pass done by using that second lane and got the momentum off turn 2. I mean, how important was it for you to try and get to that outside rather than go down the inside?
Oh, it's huge. To keep the momentum off the high side is everything. Trying to make a pass. When you get on the bottom, it just overheats the tires so bad.
And we also saw there, I think it was through turns 3 and 4 on the lap right before, you kind of dropped back from his outside, got the run, hop back out. Was that planned, or did you just not have enough to hang with him in 3 and 4?
I just drove in. It got a little too tight and started sliding the front, and I knew I wasn't going to make it. I didn't want to end up hitting the wall, so just backed off, fell behind him, and tried to take another run.
Well, in the end, it was still an incredible pass there on the back straightaway. Really fun to watch. And one thing that I noticed is that Justin kind of had to get out of the way there of Williamson, the lap car, who was up high. I mean, what were you thinking there when you were going down the back? You were too wide and you saw the lap car up to the wall.
It was definitely iffy. I appreciate him giving me room. It was a good battle, so I'm glad he gave me the room, and it was a good, fair race to the end.
And I think the one thing you showed tonight is that you were able to go out there and contend. I mean, we saw last week Justin put on an incredible performance, dominated the entire race, and tonight, I believe this is your first start of the season. You come out here and beat him right away. I mean, what do you think that means for the rest of your season if you plan to go full-time, which I'm actually not sure if you do?
I plan on doing most of the races. It's just fun to get out here with a good group and do some racing, for the most part, fairly clean.
Well, absolutely, and huge congratulations on that win tonight. Anyone you'd like to thank for the result?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the league, obviously, for having me in. Justin actually is my teammate, so I'd like to thank him for getting me involved in it. Sean.
All right, well.
Sorry about that. Sean Kimball. Sorry, my mic cut out there.
Well, anyways, huge congratulations on the win. Incredible battle between you and Justin. Like I said, loads of fun to commentate from up here in the booth. We're gonna go ahead and send you back. But again, huge congratulations, and we'll see you next week at Phoenix.
Thank you.
And that was Brad Mayhar, race winner. We were finally able to get him up into the booth. And next up, we're gonna bring up Nick Tarabuck, who had an incredible battle off turn number 4 with Ethan Lane for that third place spot. Ethan, it's Jonathan Oates up in the not Ethan. Nick, it's Jonathan Oates up in the TMG broadcast booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, you drove an incredible race there. You hung around the top 5 all night, but in the end, you were able to battle for third. And coming off turn 4, I mean, you were right there with Ethan. What were you thinking there as you were going side by side with him through the corners?
I was hoping that I didn't get too tight, honestly. I was just praying that I could keep that thing rotating through the exit, and luckily I did just enough to edge out in the front straight away.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw there coming off turn number 4, you went down to the inside. Ethan came down, gave you a little bit of a door slam there, but I mean, just what were you thinking? Were you just kind of pulling away from him going down the front straight? I mean, were you thinking he was going to wreck you?
No, I don't think he was going to wreck me. I know that he races with a good amount of class, so I know that he wasn't going to wreck me. It was going to be just a drag race to the finish. So I'm just glad I came out in front.
Well, in the end, you barely came home in third. Huge congratulations on the result. Anyone you would like to thank for the finish tonight?
Oh yeah, I just want to thank Neil for sponsoring the race. It's always fun to have a fancy little sponsor like that. And thanks Don and all the admins for putting on this race in the league, and thank you for broadcasting. It's always great to have family and friends watch. So yeah, that's about it.
Well, it was a lot of fun to commentate over up here in the booth. You and Ethan had a great battle there for the last few laps. Like I said, huge congratulations on that finish, and we're gonna go ahead and send you back.
All right, man. Have a good one. See you next week.
You too. And that was Nick Tarabuck, driver of the number 4, who came home didn't come home just short. He actually came home just short of finishing 4th by barely beating out Ethan Lane to the line. Man, it was an incredible race here in Las Vegas. We're going to go and skip it forward once again so you can see the finishing results on the left-hand side of your screen. Actually, they're gone now, so you can't see the finishing results on the left-hand side of your screen. But I'll go and go through your top 5, which was Brad Mayhar, Justin Trombley, Nick Tarabuck, Ethan Lane, and Brad Fulham. A surprise top 5. We really didn't talk about him all race. But a bit of a slugfest, a lot of clean racing, and a lot of exciting battling for the win is going to summarize the race here at Las Vegas. Next week, we stay on the West Coast, but head to Phoenix, Arizona for our first shorter track race of the season. Going to be a bit of a wild card race there, so we'll see how that plays out next Monday night here on TMG. But until the next one, this has been Jonathan Oates. I am signing out. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.